Hey guys, check this out.
Hello and welcome to Check This Out, a podcast where we take an analytical view of the media that appeals to us as individuals and why. I am El, your host, and with me today is special guest and enemy of the show, Rebellious Uno. If you would, please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi, I am Rebellious Uno. I am, as you may or may not be able to tell, a British person living in Britain, in the north of England.
Yeah, I was picking up a subtle accent there.
Yeah, just a bit. It comes and goes.
Just petite. So you're bringing something to the table that you enjoy and are passionate about. Could you talk a little bit about it in your own words?
Yeah, so I'm going to be talking today about something like, unless you've been living under a rock, and you haven't been living under a rock, right?
It comes and goes.
You should have heard of. It's been basically one of the most popular games of the last decade plus. And it is, to not beat a bear in the bush anymore, Minecraft.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah. So Minecraft has been around, as I say, since 2009, in its sort of first incarnation. And it's actually it's impressive the amount of things that Minecraft has brought to the sort of gaming zeitgeist. Really, Minecraft was essentially one of the pioneers of early access games being released and able to purchase before it was ready, and this was really just completely unheard of back in 2009.
Sort of like the release to provide funding for further release.
Yeah, exactly. It began as a creation of a guy in Sweden, a one man guy. Stupid thing to say. One man's coding team who created it just as a browser game to start with. People started picking up on it, started investigating it, and numerous releases, alphas, betas came, and it was a team was built up around it. It was first fully released to beta in 2011, and to release on the 18th of November in 2011, and continues to see regular releases, usually around every 6 months. The team in Sweden, Mojang, was acquired by Microsoft in 2014, which is a massive injection of funds. And it's now available on practically anything.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just the widespread nature of it.
Yeah, Minecraft is, everywhere. It's merchandise, games. There's been numerous spin-offs of it. So there was a story mode. There's a action adventure type game, Minecraft Dungeons. There was even an augmented reality game trying to cash in on the likes of Pokemon Go, which was Minecraft Earth, which unfortunately has been shuttered now.
So, I mean, maybe this is just me not really paying attention. Has it actually been released, or is it still in like a beta update stage?
So Minecraft was released fully on the 18th of November 2011. So that was when 1.0 was released. And the team have continued to add to the game, to evolve the game constantly. The team obviously went from one person to, it's probably got a team of 20, 30 maybe now, working at the studio there. And there was a release just 2 weeks ago, which was their 1.17 release.
Yeah, but it's not like this is another update to the beta program. This is more like a DLC, essentially.
It's free content. It is
Yeah,
free content. It's not even DLC. These are
so
these
you
are
don't download
just
it.
these are just improvements to the base game.
Yeah,
Uh,
so it's more like these aren't patches to get the game to where they envisioned it should have been before release, but more like well, that was good, but we can make it better.
Exactly. There are features that the community has been involved with. So there is a convention that happens. It's obviously not been able to happen recently, but it's been online where they've suggested things that could be added to the game, and the community has been able to vote on things that be added to the game. So recently, the community have done this, and the community are going some way to deciding what the direction of the game should take. And I suppose we probably ought to step back and actually say what the game is. We've talked about the success of this game and
Yeah,
the release, but I haven't actually said what it is. It is that ubiquitous that you have to you assume that you say Minecraft and people know what it is.
it's the Fortnite of the older generation.
Well, yeah, exactly. So for those, as I say, if you've been living in a rock or at the bottom of the ocean or maybe on the moon, you may not have heard of Minecraft. And what it is, you've heard you if you haven't heard of Minecraft, I hope you've heard of Lego, because it is digital Lego. It is a game where you are given a world, and the world is represented in 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter cubes of stuff. And you have the ability to pick up those cubes and move them around. Which, that sounds fine. There are different types of cube depending on where you are. There are, cubes of grass, I'll call them blocks. Blocks of dirt, blocks of various types of stone, and the idea is that you can collect all these blocks. There are trees, so you can collect logs and you can collect leaves, and you can use them initially to build. So you collect all your stone together, and you can build yourself a little house that you can then live in. And it's all well and good, but it's very very nice, very creative, and people have done some impressive creations using Minecraft, using what is just meter by meter by meter cubes. Where the game part of things comes in is that at night, so there is a day-night cycle. At night, that's when the monsters come out. So you have a number of different types of monsters that come out, and they are going to come and try and kill you. So zombies, skeletons, things that walk up to you and just explode, walking time bombs, that sort of thing. So the idea is to build yourself some sort of base, some sort of means of survival. Use the blocks that you have to create tools, create armor, create defenses, and then at night things come and try and kill you.
And what happens in the game?
So that's I mean that's basically it. The game is you build, you craft, you survive. There is no story. There is no end, really. Well, I mean, there is an end. There's a dimension literally called the end, which has what is a boss who after you defeat, the end credits roll. But then you can carry on playing, and you carry on building, crafting, getting bigger, expanding your base. It really again, it's another. I feel like it's a pioneer of emergent gameplay. You get out of this game what you put in. If you go into it and you have to make your own story, the game is not going to provide you a story. It is just going to provide you tools, and you have to make your own story and make your own narrative.
I mean, it does sound good if you hadn't played it or heard of it before. So I have my prepared list of questions that's designed to delve a little bit deeper into that enjoyment of yours, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure.
So I think this might have been answered already a bit, but for the sake of completion, question 1. Imagine that I was someone who has recently been awoken from a coma, resurrected from being frozen in ice, or even a rock gifted knowledge of modern times and sentience. Essentially, I know what media is, but I have never experienced any. How would you explain Minecraft without comparing it to something that I wouldn't know?
So I would describe it as a game where you can use it to create and craft your own stories. You can use it to build anything you desire, and a game where you can let your imagination run wild.
And I mean, that's basically all the kicking off point you'd need.
Yeah, I'm sure that's probably the tagline for Lego at some point.
Rather than as soon as you turn 100, you have to stop. So, question 2. Hypothetically, our positions are reversed, and I'm guesting on your immensely popular and award winning podcast. I've just answered the previous question with your response verbatim. What stood out to you the most?
That's an interesting question. I'm trying to think what I even answered now. I think it's probably the part about it's letting your imagination run wild. I mean, most media these days is very structured. If I know what media is, then presumably I'm aware of television, film, books, and things that have a story. And the fact that this is being described as without story, that I have to, or that I'm able to come up with the story without any constraints, really.
Sort of the limitless potential.
Yeah, exactly. It's that potential for it being a game, and people have created various things in Minecraft to help people. People create adventure maps that you can download, and you can go on somebody else's adventure, but still within the game. People create sort of mini games that you can see and build and play.
Yeah, just the openness of it.
Yeah, and the other thing it probably really pioneered that really helped with the popularity is the YouTube generation of Let's Plays. People, not only was this game pioneer of early access, but a lot of people were playing it and producing content, media content a lot of YouTube videos on it. You know, it's probably one of the most watched YouTube categories in the world of people producing Minecraft videos, and people make big money out of producing Minecraft content.
Mm-hmm. Would be nice to get some, but oh well.
Well, yeah.
So, question 3. We can tell that this is something that you care about, but what got you to give it a chance in the first place?
So I've always been interested in the likes of building and creating things. Since, you know, as a child, I used to play with Lego, you know, building things in Lego. And this game was, you know, I'd heard about it. I'd not been too interested in some of the emergent gameplay that was coming out, but there is a feature in the game. So you've got the building, the crafting, the creating, and that's all well and good. You've got the survival aspect, and that's, you know, all very very interesting. There is a feature in the game. There is a block called redstone, and redstone, when you break it, produces you a dust, and you can place this dust on the ground. And this dust essentially can conduct what is ostensibly an electrical signal. And this means that you can use this to do things like, let's say I've got a door, and then I have a lever, and I can connect the door to the lever, such that I can pull the lever and the door will open, and I can do this at a distance. And that's really interesting. That's quite interesting. But what people then did was, well, this is using electrical signals, and we can use this to create logical gates, because there is a way to create a NOT gate. So you pass a signal into a block, and the opposite signal comes out. You give it a 1, it comes out a 0. And one of the first pieces of Minecraft content I consumed was someone producing in Minecraft a CPU, a very rudimentary CPU, but this was essentially a 16-bit adder, such that it could add two numbers together, all within the confines of the game. You know, you could create a computer within the game, and that was just sort of blew my mind.
Yeah, I'm just even thinking of it now. It's like, bleh.
And with the tools that we had at the time, this thing was huge. The developers have added things into the game to make redstone easier, but at the time, all we had was things that could provide a signal, such as levers, things that could provide a pulse. So a button is on and then it goes off, and then you had torches, things that provided a constant signal. So these things, this 16-bit adder thing was huge, because it was having to be made out of. You were having to make NOT gates, AND gates, OR gates, but at massive scale. And the sheer size of this thing was so impressive. But it was so interesting how someone came up with this, and it's just like, I have to get in on this.
Cool. Question 4. I think I also know the answer to this one, but for some people, a sense of community and like-mindedness are integral to their enjoyment of something. To your knowledge, is there a community around Minecraft that you're aware of? And if so, what are they like?
Yes, so there are a number of communities. The game, as I say, has had a massive impact on media, because, you know, people doing YouTube and Twitch more recently. So you get those communities building up. Individual YouTuber groups have come out. So the Yogscast, maybe one that you've heard of. They got their start playing Minecraft. Hermitcraft is another recent one. There's quite a collection of popular 20 plus YouTubers, all playing together and interacting and just having a lot of fun. And these things have spurred their own conventions and meetups of people who watch them. The game also has a very enthusiastic and vibrant modding community. So people that like to modify the game to add their own blocks in and then share those creations with people. People like to share their builds. If you've done something particularly impressive, you've recreated the Royal Albert Hall, you've recreated the Sydney Opera House, people will build that and they will share it because they are hugely proud of it. And these things are really impressive, especially when you use some of the modern graphics and things like that for putting RTX shading, real time ray tracing on these. These look so impressive for a game that is
Cubes.
12 years old and made of cubes.
It's the snowball effect. It's just, I guess, being out so long as well doesn't hurt that.
Yeah, so I mean, Minecraft has, let's see, 200 million sales across platforms.
Oh, only.
200 million. With an estimated 126 million active players monthly.
It
Like,
boggles the mind.
yeah, and consider the game is probably. So I think I probably paid about $10 for it 12 years ago, and then the weird one was the early access. The way early access worked, then it was supposed if you bought in cheap earlier, it was cheaper. Then when it went so it was $10 at alpha, $15 at beta, and $20 at release.
Hmm.
And that was the way early access was conceived, and it's completely different to how early access works these days. But yeah, 200 million at $20 a piece. That's a lot of moolah.
Or even like if you're being generous and have all of them at $10 a piece, it's still pretty good.
Yeah, it's still a huge amount. And then there's all the merchandising and stuff that goes on top of that.
Mm.
There are board games. There was a Telltale Minecraft story mode game. There's so much extra stuff that goes on around it.
So there is a community, is what you're saying.
Just a small one. Yeah.
Yeah, fair. I mean, little indie title, no one's ever heard of it. It makes sense.
Yeah. A few diehard fans, maybe one or two.
Yeah. Question 5. There are many aspects of media that resonate differently with different people. What is your favourite part?
So, my favorite part. So, the thing I like about Minecraft the most is I rarely. So there's two concepts, two sort of sides to the game. There is what we call vanilla, which is playing Minecraft completely unmodified. So the way that Mojang intended. So Minecraft without any changes. I play a lot of modded, so people that have created modifications to the game to change the game in certain ways. So I like to use that and to create automation. I'm a big fan of automation games. The likes of Satisfactory, Dyson Sphere Project, that sort of thing as well. But one of the things that got me into that was playing modded Minecraft, where people created machines for Minecraft. So instead of taking a single block of iron, the simplest thing, you take a simple block of iron, you smelt it in the smelter, and you get an iron ingot out. Well, the idea with a modded is you could put that iron into a machine to get iron dust, but two of it, so then you could smelt those two iron dust, such that you get two iron from a block of iron ore. And the idea is, people started putting these mods together. So collections of mods would appear into mod packs, and these would be like-minded mods that work together. Maybe they were machinery. Maybe what you did is you created it such that you can have a conveyor belt. That you put your items onto the conveyor belt. They're processed by one machine. Another conveyor belt takes them away. They're processed by the next machine. it takes them away, and so on and so forth. And then you have this sort of automated construction line, and that just really just does something in my head that just makes me feel yes, I like this.
Just ticks the little box that says machine.
Yeah, it presses a button that says endorphins, please.
God, those are handy.
Yeah.
Question 6. Following on from the previous question, what do you think appeals most to the general public?
So I think to the general public, it starts with creation. I think that's what gets most people involved. People have done things with playing with Lego. They've used Lego before. They understand that building and that creation, and I think they see what other people have created, what other people have built, and start building themselves. Start putting blocks together, creating builds. And just being creative and having that emergent gameplay that comes out.
I mean, not to sound like too pretentious or anything, but it's something that's like inherently human to create.
Yeah, and to destroy as well. You take, once you've created something, you've got it there. You can take a backup of the world, and then I've certainly been known to once I've built something, create a load of TNT and then blow it up.
Set some fireworks off.
Exactly, literal fireworks. The game has fireworks.
So, question 7. Say that I do end up enjoying this because of your excellent recommendation. What would be your number one follow-up? It doesn't have to be a sequel or anything, but where would I look if I wanted something more of the same?
So, more of the same. I would start with the modding community. Once you're into Minecraft, I would look to the modding community, see what the modding community is. There are various mods that go into Minecraft, not just technology. People do things with magic, creating big spells, big flashy things that go on. People create adventure content. There's a mod that adds dragons and trolls and giants and things. There are mods that are huge, full size conversion mods that add galaxies. You can build a spaceship to go to another planet, and then there are mods that just add bits of decoration. Adding a few different wood colors, adding a few different stone types. Maybe you don't quite like how the brick wall looks. There is a mod to add different shapes of walls, cracked bricks, that sort of thing. So it depends what part of enjoyment you're getting out of the game.
And if I were looking outside of Minecraft?
So if you were looking outside of Minecraft, again, it depends. Minecraft has spawned a lot of copies, a lot of spin-offs. Terraria is a 2D version that is a very good game in its own right. As I say, I've spoken about some of the factory automation games, so Factorio, Satisfactory, more recently, as I say, Dyson Sphere Project. These games, are born out of the factory construction part of things. Then you've got various creation games. What is it? There's a tilt brush in VR, which is just a game for building and painting in 3D.
Neat. So, normally I would ask a particular thing about relating to characters, but as you've mentioned, Minecraft is kind of bereft of that. So, you've mentioned being into more the modded side. Do you have a favourite mod?
So I wouldn't say that it's completely bereft of character, to be fair, if we go back to that question. So the community and things that have come up around it, the main character, so your main character has, when you come in, has a default look. and that main character is Steve. And he's appeared in that Steve has appeared in various videos and things and content that people have created. More recently, from community input and community pressure, they've added another character, Alex, who is a female-looking character, but you can, as a player, you have the opportunity to change how you look, so that Steve and Alex are the sort of very basic body types, but you can look however you want in this game, and because you can play with other people, that's how they then appear. That's how they then see you. So I think the characters of Steve and Alex are very very important for certainly for the media side of things, and the content that's produced outside, and because of the emergent gameplay, the game has created various other mythical characters and things that have come out from fan fiction, that sort of thing.
And your favourite mod, if you were forced to pick?
So my favourite mod, well, if I'm being all self-promoty, there's a mod out there called Lava Sponge, available for Forge, available on CurseForge. And the reason that's my favourite, I'm just going to say it, is because I wrote it.
Buy now.
Yeah, so, yeah, available at all good downloads. Now, I think one of the things, more being a bit less self-promoty, I think one of the favourite mods at the minute of current time, so because there has been a lot, and as the game updates, unfortunately, because of the way the modding works, the game changes, the game updates, and it breaks mods. Mods have to then be updated to meet the new version of the game, and some mods, people are doing this off their own back, on their own time, so people just don't have the time to continually update the game, which is why there is a good part of the modding community that still plays on a version that was 5-6 years ago. But then that gives space, that allows new design space for new mods to come out, because if a mod is constantly updated, it becomes the the de facto standard. But by giving new people space, there's a lot of new design space, and one of the mods that has come out over the last couple of years is a mod called Create, and this mod is something very visceral about it. A lot of mods use power, and they transfer power with wires, and you're producing electricity. But Create is all about rotational energy. So you are creating windmills and water wheels and big engines, and you're transferring power through rotating shafts. And then you have to play about with gearing, so you have cogs, and they spin at speeds, and you can use the cogs to make gearing ratios to increase and decrease the speed that things are turning at, and that affects how the machines that operate it work. It's just something very visceral about it, and it just is great, and it's really cool to look at. There's nothing else like it in Minecraft, really.
I imagine it's kind of hard to search for, though.
God, it is the worst. If you try and search Minecraft create tutorial, no, it's awful. But there was a video of basically making a large contraption in order to build cake, and this was sort of the Create teaser commercial, and that is a really good video of what Create can do. It's various machines grabbing the milk, milking a cow, and then a machine sort of harvesting wheat and then producing a cake, and things moving in ways that things don't ordinarily move in Minecraft.
And I can imagine that very easily appeals to that endorphin button for you.
Yeah, it's just like slamming it on.
So, question 9. A lot of these types of interviews rely on the question of what would you bring with you to a desert island in order to get to know a person? But that's not this show. What we ask instead is to picture this scenario. You're on a deserted island with no hope of rescue, but food, water, and shelter have all been taken care of so that you won't succumb before your natural time. You've also been provided with a single piece of media and the means to engage with it, and for you it is Minecraft. How frequently do you utilize it, and how long would it take for you to be sick of it? For this, we'd imagine that it's no longer updating. It's just going to be standard as is currently.
So I there's so much you can do. There's so much, because of that emergent nature of it. It is infinite. Minecraft is infinite. You can keep walking for thousands upon thousands of blocks and see something new every time. See particular configurations of how the terrain lies. How a mountain's been generated. So I don't know that I would ever get bored of it. And if you do start to find that you're getting bored of it, you can go out and create something new somewhere else. Find a new bit of terrain. Travel to hell. There is a literal hell in the game. See what's there. Survive there.
And failing all that, blow it all up and start again.
Exactly. Just completely blow it all up. Start again.
Cool. Well, that's all the questions I had, so thank you for indulging me.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Hopefully that's given people a little bit of a deeper insight into your perspective. Now, before I ruin the show by talking for myself, it's time for everyone's favourite part, a word from the sponsors. Thank you, sponsors. I would give you a socially appropriate nod from a distance in these trying times. Now, I do have a follow-up from last episode's enemy of the show and self-proclaimed master of dungeons, Durgai, and their recommendation of Path of Exile. Is this something that you're familiar with?
I have heard of it. I haven't partaken.
Fair enough. So it was presented as a Diablo-like adventure sort of game, where it's like a loot crawler type system. I can see how it would appeal to a lot of people. I'll put that just as a caveat there. I played it for a bit. I opened up the skill tree for leveling up, and I completely just lost it. I'm like, nope, too much.
Yep, there's a lot.
It is a lot. But it's also not usually the type of game I would enjoy, personally. But saying that, I can see there is polish that's gone into it. I played with a couple of different characters. They're all fairly unique in their actions and stylings. But not for me, I don't think. So I would give it a 2 out of 5, if I'm being generous. So before we wrap up the final ever episode of Check This Out for this recording session, and 7th time I've made that joke, please tell the audience where they might find you online and if you have anything to spruik.
So you can find me by my handle. The main places to find me are on Twitter at RebelliousUno, and you can also find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/RebelliousUno.
Cool. And on that note, I've been Al.
And I have been Uno.
And this has been Check This Out, a podcast of media positivity. And remember, don't count your blessings before they hatch.